Foti, you bring up a good point, and let me ask you guys a question. So, I sat down with the metropolis of Boston years ago, and I posed a question to him. I was like, from my perspective, we have roughly about 2 to 3 generations before the Greek culture has gone from America. And I posed to him the question, like, what do you think about that? And he was like, so what you're saying is your kid, most of this generation, well, the younger generation, because this was years ago, are going to marry non-Greeks most likely, because that's kind of the trend. And then their kids are going to marry non-Greeks. So you have like a full Greek marrying a non-Greek, that makes half Greek kids. Then those Greek kids are going to marry non-Greeks. That makes a quarter Greek kids. And then that third generation down is going to be no Greek whatsoever. That scared the hell out of me because I can't imagine living any other lifestyle than being an American of Greek descent, having my Greek friends and going to Greek nights and dancing Greek and going to the festival. And then my American friends going to like a frat party and like going to do whatever. Like, that's so cool to me. And I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I'm like, so these children are full Greek, but are they going to marry Greeks? Are they going to be like part of that? I mean, what as 21 and 23, like what does that mean to you? Is that something that's real? Is that something that frightens you? Is that something that's just in my old crazy head? Or like, well, how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Well, first of all, I want to say that, even though the the number of Greeks marrying Greek people is decreasing, statistically speaking, Greeks are the most likely immigrant group to marry within their group. Like that's just statistically speaking, and actually that's statistics from Australia, but I assume it holds true in the United States. Out of all of the immigrant groups in Australia, Greek Australians were the least likely to intermarry with any other group. So
Interesting.
even though I think that the number is declining, I still think relative to other groups in the United States, we are in a little bit of a better position than most of them are. I mean, like, how many people have you met where they're like, "Oh yeah, like I'm Italian and I'm Irish and I'm also Czech." It's like they just kind of like pick whichever they want. It's a common thing. But again, I am 21. I have a girlfriend of a year who I love very much, and she is from Greece. She was born in Greece, lived in Greece her whole life. And
Bravo.
growing up, I never considered dating somebody who wasn't Greek. I never considered marrying somebody who wasn't Greek. And you're gonna laugh, because at the time, even I thought this was ridiculous. My dad told me when we were kids that if we didn't marry a Greek girl, he wasn't coming to the wedding. So he was
Classic.
We've all heard it. We've all heard it.
he was pretty uptight about it. But at the same time, like I didn't just the natural inclination of a lot of kids is to rebel, do the opposite of what your parents say. But for me, like I also couldn't imagine having kids and like, oh yeah, we're gonna celebrate, Greek holidays and like I don't know, like Hungarian holidays. Like nothing bad about Hungarians, but it's like that's not my culture, and I don't know how I could have kids with that split identity. And I think that like I love being Greek. I want my kids to be Greek, and not just Greek. I want to be more Greek than I am. You know what I mean? I want them to have this as a core part of their life. And I think as a as someone who may be a parent someday, hopefully, God willing, like it just comes down to the values you instill in your child. It's like my dad told me when I was a kid, he's like, "Hey, being Greek is the greatest. Like you should love this. This is awesome," and that stuck with me. And I kind of want to impart that same attitude on my kids. Um, like, hey, like you're part of like the greatest group of people to ever walk the earth. Like this is badass. You should be really happy about that. So for me, and I think for a lot of other kids my age, I think we're leaning into our Greek heritage a lot. Me and my older brother, and then like we have a younger brother who's involved, and like my girlfriend. Like we're not the only people that are involved in KTE. There's like 25 people who are writing articles. They're helping us with our website. Like they're doing all this stuff, and they care just as much as we do. So I think that we are experiencing like a Hellenic Renaissance of sorts. Like people aren't just forgetting. Like there is good stuff happening.
Well, the other, on a positive note, the other point that Angelo brought up earlier is that at this point where we are, even if you marry a non-Greek, usually the Greek overpowers everything
Always.
else.
That's
It's
true.
like if you
We're the
marry
dominant
like an
culture.
Italian or if you marry like a whatever, like it's almost always the case that the Greek is gonna be the dominant. I mean,
Well, true. No, because look, my first wife Ari was Greek. It didn't work out. My wife currently is Armenian, which is very, very much as close as you're going to get to Greek. So my daughter at 11, I'm on the road all the time. So I told we go to St. Sophia here in LA. And I said to my wife, you know what? It would be good to take our daughter to Greek dancing, to at least get her to learn to dance. Now, I'm on the road. So it's up to my wife. She starts taking her to Greek dance lessons at the church. Before you know it, she's on the St. Sophia Greek dance team. They go to FDF. My wife's now on the board working with them. She's working at the Panigiri. I just did a show fundraising for them. And it's interesting because my friend Lazo is a musician, came to FDF, Folk Dance Festival, which is a huge festival, if you guys know it, in the West Coast. It has like 60, 70 churches, thousands of people go. And the guy Lazo, who's from up north in Macedonia, he goes to me, dude, he goes, your daughter's dancing Pondian. Like, this is a difficult dance. Your daughter, these kids are they're dressed up in full Pondian war gear. They're dancing Pondian because they don't speak Greek. They're singing in Greek. And now my daughter likes it. They change up the whole dance thing. So it's interesting.
but what we said, Angelo, is like your wife and your daughter, even though your daughter's half Armenian, half Greek, and your wife's Armenian, they're getting sucked in. Why?
To the vortex.
Because we are such a dominant culture.
We are, but at the same time, though, they have to be willing participants. I got other friends that say,
Oh, of
fuck
course,
this.
yeah.
I don't give a shit about the Greeks. I don't care. I'm not getting involved. That happens too. So the thing is,
I'll put everyone that gets sucked into the Greek culture like 10-1 to the people who are like, screw the Greeks. I don't want to be part of the Greeks. I will put them 10-1 easily.